Number 19, we're given that sine theta is greater than 0 and cosine theta is greater than 0. Correct? And we want to find,
Is that 1 through 5 or 1 through 8?
1 through 8,
Okay, sorry.
we want to find the value. We want to find what quadrant that angle would be. Alright. Now how I do this, kind of same thing with my unit circle. If I know automatically, what's the value of my x and y coordinate in this one? What's my value of my x and y coordinate? Are they negative or positive?
They're both positive.
Positive, right? What about this one? Negative, negative, right? And the last one is correct? Now, sine is what value? The x or the y? The y, correct? So, sine greater than 0, that means it's positive. That means I can be in this one and this one, right?
Mm-hmm. That's for sine.
That's for sine. Now cosine is x, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Cosine greater than 0. When's cosine greater than 0? This one and this one, right? So which one is it where they're both? That's what quadrant?
1.
Quadrant 1. So your answer for 19? Do that. Sine is another way to write y and x, right? When's y greater than 0? In these two. When's x greater than 0? In these two.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
This is 21. We'll do another. So I do the same thing when it's sine greater than 0. What's quadrants?
Quadrant 2. Oh, sorry.
1 and 2. For sine? Yes.
I'm an idiot.
I was like, okay.
I mean, I'd say
My bad. Oh, so cosine is less than 0, right? Which ones are those ones?
The 2 bottom. There's that one and then the bottom.
So what's my answer? Quadrant 2. That's what that angle would be done. Does that make sense right there? Okay, let's move on to one of the hard ones. Or it may not seem like harder. Actually, it's not. It's just harder because it's the next number. Let's do 23. I have tangent of what? And what's my constraint?
Sine theta greater than 0.
All right. And we want to list what?
The 6 trigonometric function.
The other 6 trig functions. So 5. The other 5. All right. Tangent. So I'm going to draw my little chart again. I like doing that. It just makes it easier. Sine has to be greater than 0, so that automatically tells me it has to be in these two. But tangent has to be negative. So where is tangent negative at? 1 or 2?
2.
It's 2, right? So that means I have an angle going off over here. Correct? And the idea is I'm going to call this angle theta. Draw a little triangle. Everyone good so far? Tangent, how can I rewrite that one? Based off what I just had you guys write down, how can I rewrite tangent in terms of x and y? It's 8 negative 15.
Oh, I get it.
Based off that chart that I just had you guys write down, how can I write tangent? Y over x, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in, what's up?
Why is it quadrant again?
Sine is greater than 0. That only happens in these two.
Yeah.
Tangent's negative. This one's composed of plus and plus, right?
Okay, I understand.
Tangent's y over x. So which one should be negative? Y, 15 or 8? The 8.
Why?
What is sine again? It's opposite or adjacent. What's the first one though? Sine is related to which function value, x or y?
Why?
The y value. That's the first thing I had you guys write down from 4.1. It's the first thing on the unit circle, it should be. Sine is the y value. So therefore, when I'm dealing with x and y, that's your sine. Okay? Sine has to be positive based off this constraint. So that tells me this one is 15, and this is negative 8.
Why didn't you, since it's opposite over adjacent, why didn't you just do that?
I know what I did.
But like,
I'm showing you the way that you can do it multiple ways. That's what I'm showing you.
oh, okay.
All right?
Okay.
How do I find r?
X.
Square root of x squared plus y squared.
If you don't want to memorize that, is it just Pythagorean theorem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my r
Why in the world is it written like that if it's just the Pythagorean theorem? True.
Because it's
That's what I'm saying.
is that the same thing?
Yeah. So why did they write, like, why did they make the second
instead
one?
of instead of having to go through the issue of square rooting the r, square rooting the problem, we just get rid of it in the end.
Just do it automatically.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
All right.
Did you?
So I get 64 and 225, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which is 289. And what's the square root of 289, Carlos? You're like, let me calculate.
16 or 17.
I think it's 17, so let's one more check.
17 is 7 times 5 is equal to 9, so we have to do that.
All right, so it's 17. Rule of thumb, your r can never be negative. So you don't want to add that. Your r can never be negative. Your r is your radius, so it can't be negative.
It doesn't equal 0 either.
Exactly. It'll never equal 0. So it's greater than 0. Now that I have that, can I find the other 5 trig functions? Right? Based off this angle? So what is sine going to be?
Mm-hmm.
15 over 17. Cosine? Negative 8 over 17. We already have tangent, so let's do cosecant. correct? Secant, 17 over negative 8, and our last one, cotangent, negative 8 over 15. How does it seem so far?
That's good. The only part that confuses me is like how to decide which one's negative.
That's where the constraint's going to come into play, decide which one's your negative.
Okay.
All right? That's where you got to pay attention to your constraint.
Whoa.
What's up? Let's set up 27 real quick. That way it's used to see that. I'm not going to finish it all the way, but let's set it up. Cosine theta greater than 0. Which quadrant am I going to end up in?
Four.
Cosine's positive, right? So it's either one of these.
Right.
Cotangent's negative. Cotangent's x over y, correct? So it tells me this one's both positive, it has to be this one.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, so cotangent's somewhere down here. Again, I just draw my little triangle like that, and I'm just going to call this angle theta. Cotangent, I said it's x over y. So what is my y? It's 1. In this case, is it negative 1 or positive 1?
Y is negative.
That's what we were just discussing.
Because cosine has to be positive,
Oh. But it's negative.
so it's, is that the same thing?
Can you switch that
Yeah.
T with an S?
Which two? Yes.
You have cotangent.
That's what the problem is.
27.
Oh.
So what's going to be my radius then? Three squared plus 1 squared. 10. The square root of 10. Right? And let's find the rest. And we'll actually work it all out. So sine is going to be what? Negative 1 over square root of 10. Should I leave it like that? So I'm going to multiply both sides square root of 10, top and bottom.
Negative square root of
Cosine theta. 3 over square root of 10. So that's going to be a 3 square root of 10 over 10. Tangent. Hopefully you guys get negative 1/3. Cosecant theta.
negative square root of
Negative square root of 10. And last one, secant. Square root of 10 over 3. you guys started noticing pattern with the square roots, by the way?
Yeah.
If your square root's on the bottom, you just multiply top and bottom, but you just get that number by itself. Hopefully you guys start noticing that those patterns is very similar. Alright? That's why I assigned so many problems, so you guys get used to the patterns and start seeing it for yourself. Let's see. All the other examples are based off your unit circle. So if you look at 38 through 44, for instance, if I'm looking at 37, it says find the value of sine of pi. Look at your unit circle. What is sine of pi equal to? The coordinate. It should just be 0. Sine of pi because it's y. That's all you're going to do for those. Alright? The next group of problems you will have, 54 through 68, they're degrees. Look at your unit circle of degrees and find sine, cosine, and tangent. So if I'm looking at 300 degrees, I just look at the function values for sine, cosine, and tangent there. The radians is the same thing. If it goes past, over, should I just continue to go over until I get there? That's all you got to do. Alright? And then I'm not going to do 76 through 90 with you because it says to use your calculator. So just use your calculator. 76 through 90. And same thing with 92 through 96. Tell me what the 2 degrees would be. That's it. Basically, you're using your unit circle. I did not give you any more problems on this section.
I love you. But I love you.
I know the word problems were tough in the last section, so I didn't give you the one in this one. Plus, I know the word problems are coming. I'm trying to give you a break, trying to make sure you guys just understand how to do the basic stuff before you get to those. Alright? Okay, so that's it for today.
Really?
It's due Monday. I know a lot of you are still not done with 4.3. Also, I did grade some 4.3s. Let me go over something with 4.3 stuff. The identities. Yes, if you're going to grade it. But do not put that you did the identities when you really didn't, because I do check those. I got some where it was like, yeah, I did it, and there was no identity to be found. So I've changed some scores on those if you graded it yourself. Be honest with yourself, because otherwise we'll mark it wrong. Don't make stuff up. I'll catch you there too. Okay? Questions?
Is it too late to turn in those corrections?
No, it's not.